Hi there, this is Dawn. Well, welcome back to my art room and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's lovely to have you join me. Today you'll see that I'm experimenting with my camera angles to try and give you a bit more of an overall look, because in my last video it was awful, and so yeah, I'm having a play today with that. And the reason I wanted to really have a good experiment is that I'm ready to think about blocks 5 and 6, and because they're going to be a middle panel, I feel like I need to work on them simultaneously, even though we're only up to block 5. So I'll just, see how I go. There'll be times probably where I get my arm in the way, and unfortunately I probably can't do a whole lot about that. But I'm hoping that this might give you a little bit of perspective as to where I'm going with this. I'm just seeing if I tilt you. I don't think I can even take you up any higher. Oh, let's have a go. There might be an opportunity here. I just saw the stand maybe could go up that little bit higher. I'm sorry, I'm really doing this while I'm talking to you because I've no idea how it's going to work, and I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. So, the angle's a little bit kind of, a bit skewed given that it's actually straight on my desk, but it's probably as good as I'm going to get it now. Cool. All right. So, I just wanted, like I said, I just wanted to give you that bit of perspective as to where I'm going with that. I'm going to stay right here, but go to the other side of the table so you'll see my fingers kind of like coming in around this area here. So I'll keep talking because I am here, and I'm hoping that if I move it over here slightly, and hopefully you can still hear, and I go up a bit. All right, I'm going to run around the table and see what that looks like. Oh well, you're getting a bit more of a view of it. So this one is one that I haven't resolved. I've stitched, this is block 4, it's stitched into place. It's got some of the binding done. I'll move this a little bit here. So yeah, so down that side there, it's got its binding done. It's got a little bit of twiddle going on here, but this is the area that I want to work in next. Now technically this should be block 5, but it will be at the top of the panel that I'm going to do. Am I going to call that one block 5 and the bottom one block 6? No. I think block 6 will go here and block 5 will go here. And so that's where I'm headed. I've got my backing pieces already cut out, so they will go, there'll be one there, and then there'll be another one underneath which will join on there. So then that'll be block 5 and block 6, or block 5 and block 6, and that's where I'm headed. So this will come over, and it might just, I can see that little tree image is probably between these two blocks, and that might work out okay. So yeah, so that's where I'm headed. I think what I'll do is I'll turn you off. Oh, I'll stop. I'm not going to turn you off. I'm just going to stop for a second, reposition everything, and reposition the camera so you don't keep getting my head and all my arms and, you know, everything else in. And I'll start having a layout and a play with how I envisage these two centre blocks to work together. Okay, one sec. Okay, I'm back. And my apologies for that little bit of, you know, untidiness that was going on down the side there. I didn't realise that those bits and pieces were in the camera shot. So, yes, just, you know, funny little bits and pieces that are just to the side and they don't have a cupboard space. So they're just sitting there. Anyway, all right. So I just wanted to recap on this. This is my inspiration for my next two panels. One of the projects that we did, I don't remember the number. I probably have it somewhere, written somewhere. Maybe I don't. No, I was thinking I might have written it. I should have. Maybe I need to look that up, research it, and tell you. So, not last Christmas. So not June to December of 23. So it must have been June to December of 22. Yes, okay, 22. It was the year that I retired and that we moved house, and the project started just prior to us moving, and I didn't get around to getting into it. So it was one a fortnight, I think, because we've got 12. So it must have been one a fortnight. A page could have been in a journal. I chose not to put mine in a journal. I chose to keep them all separate. They sit in a journal book to keep them safe and sound. But I chose to put mine separate, keep them separate, so that then I hang it as bunting on my kitchen wall. And I've shown that in a video, you know, a couple back, of what it looks like when it's hanging up, and they look lovely. Anyway, you know, muttering about something else entirely now. So my plan was to do the needle turn applique with some embroidery and little patches for windows and doors. But the biggest thing about that is it's on a plain background. Now, it's not so plain because it's got lots of lace and bits of doilies, but plainish. So I'm not going to put the amount of lace on that's on this. I have got a doily that I've been using that I've cut into 4 pieces and quarters, and I think, say that very loosely, I think at this stage, throughout the quilt, though, there'll be just those 4 quarters. So in actual fact, this was block 4. Block 5 won't have one. Then block next to it will. This one underneath this one won't. Underneath this one will. Okay, so I need to remember to plan that. Is it on every 3rd block? I might not bother on these 2. I might leave, because I've got 2 more, got a half here. A little bit of thinking out loud with you guys, sorry. So that's going to go in half. So I might leave that for, you know, panels that go down the bottom there somewhere. I just didn't want to have a lot of lace on it because it's going to go on top of a bed just as a, cover, that looks Christmassy. Okay, I'm going to put that one away. I'm not going to use that. All right, so let's go back to this. So I've been gathering just all of my bits of kind of like pale-ish and not a busy, not a big print. Some of them there's more than others. So that's going to be my next bit of planning now. I've also got my Santa from Rachel's Christmas pack. He's going to go down the bottom, and he probably will be incorporated into the background, I think. So, the other thing that I'm going to do here now is I'm going to leave all of this out and about around me, because the thing that I want to be really careful about is making sure that things sit right and that I'm trying to use the same coloured fabrics. Some of these blocks I'd planned to overlap, so I need to think about how that's going to happen as well. So yeah, so if you're interested in this level of planning, hang around, because I'm going to keep going for a bit. I'll join that first little bit on, but for the rest of the time I think this is me now planning on a plainish background that I can then cancer stitch together prior to doing the little applique houses. And I need to make a pattern for those. Probably not in this video, might be the next one, because we want to make sure that they all sit in proportion. I don't know how many houses I'm going to do yet. I want to be thinking about doing a bit of embroidery around a very, very plainish tree with some buttons. I'll also have, some of these to incorporate, and I'll also have, my baubles. So they need to be probably, these bauble things here. They need to be incorporated into the design somewhere. Good. Okay. Stick with me. Let's see how we go. Good. All right. Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like I've just been running on fast forward with family and friends. I'm just going to talk and do it, all right? And we've had a really busy time. Not that it's not normally, but it just feels a bit more busier than normal. What I'm doing here is checking, because I think one of my other ones I did it upside down. And if you're using something like this, see, can you see that stitch going across? I think that designates that this is the wrong side. It's really hard to tell, but I'm going to go with that. It looked more obvious once I'd added it to when I turned it over, I could see it. So I've got, for those of you that didn't come along at the start of the journey here, I have 2 pieces of sheeting. One actually has a pattern on it, and it's quite old and it has marks on it. It actually was new fabric. Well, it had never been made into sheets. It's sheeting, but it had got marked on the roll, and I think probably got it for next to nothing. This one here was a sheet, and it's this one here that's got this. It's got a little bit of a print in it. I'm really not going to be able to use it for anything else because of that situation where it's marked So this is a middle square, and therefore I need to leave some space where it's going to fit onto the previous one, and I need to be mindful of that. But for some funny reason, this one is not quite the right size, and I don't know what's going on here. It just seems to be almost a bit bigger than the one underneath, unless I just haven't got it right. I'm sorry, you can hear the fan going in here. We don't have direct air conditioning in this room, and although the house is open plan, I can definitely feel the benefit of the cool in from the other room, but it's nice to have a bit of air movement, and we actually haven't even got the cooling on today. It's like it's warm, but it's not so hot that you need the air conditioning on, but a bit of air movement is very much appreciated. All right, cool. So I'm going to start on this top one, and my thought about that was around something that might look like sky, even though that's a very loose interpretation of what's going on. But this is paler than some of the others, and I actually thought that having stars on it might look quite nice as a starry. I'm gonna have to bring you right over here, and I'm gonna move everything. Ooh. Because now, of course, I've moved so much that I don't know where the camera is supposed to be anymore. I love this one. This was on that original. Look, it was just in amongst the houses, and I loved it like that. Looks very cute, I thought. Look like Christmas stars. Good. So I just have to think about how much of anything that I want, because I've got a lot of different ones. I have this one, which is, it's got this little star burst on it, but mostly it's just kind of gold and cream. And the other one is this one, which is lots of little gold stars. I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to tell you anything about these fabrics, given their age. I noticed when I was ironing this one, which has got, no, I thought this one will go down the bottom. It's got a little bit of a thing on it, 1995. Yes. Might have been in my stash for quite some time. I'm not sure if that makes it vintage nearly. Close. All right, 24, 29 years old. So my apologies for not being able to tell you where these all came from, because honestly that was just a fluke. Many of them, this one's got kind of like, it almost looks like music notes, but it's just like long lines with little gold dots and gold dust on it, but it almost looks musical. It's got a wee bit of something going on, but that's it. That's the extent of it. So I'm sorry if that frustrates you. This would be the best time to go to your fabric store, because they're going to get rid of any old bits of, stock that they've had for Christmas, and probably chucking it out at a really good price. Oh, the camera doesn't like it when it's all white. It goes up and down. Do you see that? Good. All right, so can you see where I'm kind of headed here? I'm building up I'm getting down to where the tops of the houses probably will be. I've ironed some of these in places. Oh, I need to think about that one. You know, the rest kind of are in the same colourway, and that one's not. What other colours do I have here? I've got these ones, but they're a bit more yellow, and I'm thinking they might need to go on the next one, the block underneath. Well, I guess what I can do, I keep picking this up and almost using it, and I don't want to do that. This one is that one. And what I like to do, I mean, I haven't got very much. I've only got, you know, like this bit here, I think. I'm happy to have slightly bigger ones because I've also got the top. Oh, here we go. This one is, there you go, Essentials New Star. Some of these would have been Macau, UK. Some of them would have been bought at the same time. That's what I was trying to say. And so I always like to repeat things. If I've got it in one spot, I like to have it in another. And like I said, they silly iron turned itself off. They yeah, that's a little bit better. I need to think about, you know, I think that stripy one will be all right in there, and I'm going to take that through. This is the middle area where more houses will be. So I think it'll be okay there. And we always need to make sure that there's sufficient overlap. So I'm going to actually give that a nip there and just give it a little rip. Give it a little rip. Yeah, so anyway, where was I with Christmas stories? Yeah, I think in the middle, the light around and then the darker one in the middle, I think actually looks good. So having done Christmas, family Christmases, over the New Year, we had friends come and stay, Willie and her husband, so we did a bit of, you know, catch up stitching together, making some plans to go to Susanna's retreat in Ballarat in March. We're just reviewing some accommodation with a couple of other girls, so that'll be nice, sharing together. I've got that little bit, but I mean, I can use the lighter colours in the bottom square, but my preference is to use them in the top square and just sort of graduate down into the next panel. This is where the next panel will join, and so some of this will go down. Just looking to see what might need to come. I've got my arm all over the place because, all right, I'm gonna hoy this down the screen a little bit because I've got this situation where it will join, and so I need to be mindful of that. You know, keeping it plain helps to reduce the amount of decision making, that's for sure. When you're trying to lay out the background, which is really all I'm doing, is laying out a background. All right, now these ones join here, and then this one and then these two join up there. It's always a bit muddly to start with while you gather your bits and pieces. All right, and then this one has to go over here. So I did forget about that when I was laying them out. So the inner needs to this has got to fold over here, so that can manage there, and then this will be lined up with that one, which is good because I need a piece to go here. So I've got a teddy coming over. Is he coming under or over? I don't know. All right. These need to join up here. And this needs to join. My wadding needs to join up there. Cool. So they will come down here. It's always like a bit of a puzzle till and what I'm trying to decide is which bit will overlap what. Because having those bits at the top I'm perfectly okay with them. You know, they're not part of the picture as such, but they are part of having the quilt work together. And they kind of make a border. And that was a bit of an accidental, happy accident. Yeah, cool. And so that might be where I'm headed with this. So this Santa will, oh no, he's not, he's in the next one down. All right, I need to find something that will sit there. That's cool. Good. All right. It was a happy accident, because I didn't know that was going to look like that. And that certainly now is going to contribute to my overall planning. So all I'm doing here is making sure, number one, they're going to overlap. And I don't mind that there's a bit of a straight line there, because it's the only bit that there is a bit of a straight line. And, you know, I've still got to put, you know, these holly leaves somewhere. And so I'm going to need a space for them to sit comfortably together. I actually don't mind that little look there that's gone on. That was accidentally as well. That's kind of like met there, but that's continued into there. We'll see. We'll see what happens. This type of quilting is, you know, once this is the longest part, getting this done seems to take forever. And it's just the planning, you know, that's the issue. It's planning where to put what when. And you know, I don't mind that it takes a little bit of time. It's It can be, you know, that bit there is playing with my head a bit. It's probably just going to be, always going to be a weird spot. You know what could be there are some of those little decorations. Plus I've also got a 12 Days of Christmas. Those little, you know, those little patches. You know, these ones. So I need to put 5 and 6. Oh, well, no, I'm not putting them in order, so it doesn't really matter. So I need to find which ones are going to work the best. I think that's too big. So I'm going to cut it down, but prior to cutting it, I'm just going to fold it because I don't really know how much of it I want. I just didn't think that I needed all of it. It just seemed like too much. And while I'm trying to keep the background with bigger pieces intentionally, because I've got the I've got the houses. So that was completely my intention, so that the houses weren't going to compete with lots of little bits. Yeah, maybe that one can go there because it's kind of just that little bit bigger design, and I think it can cope with that. I'll bring some darker ones in because I want it to transition into that next block. You can't see what I'm talking about. I'm going down here, because I want... So this is sitting almost on the edge. It maybe I can have something. I think it might work better. Oh, I'll just move you a little bit. There we go. Now you are really on a funny angle now. Yep. All right. Let's have... How about some of these gold stars on this side? I know we've got stars there. But like I said, it's the night sky that I'm kind of thinking about, or that Christmas sky. What's here? Nothing. What I don't like is when, they all sit in line. Like, while I've said I'm going to cope with that, I'm only just. I would rather move it up so that we've got that kind of look there. I think that's better. And this one could go in here. So having these patterned pieces coming around here as almost like a border, I'm going to continue with that. I've got these little squares that I've cut out and used individually in different places. I'm wondering if they actually might look all right there. I think they will. Can you see over there? Can I get you in the picture here? There. So if I cut it out as, instead of cutting them out individually, if I cut it out as, you know, maybe a 4-patch, and it can come, let me do it. And it doesn't matter if I don't use it because, all right, so if I, you know, I bought it just as 3 rows. That's this year's print. I got it from I'm saying this year's, last year's. I bought it prior to Christmas. Whether or not it's an old print, I'm not sure. It was, she actually went and opened her Christmas cupboard for me because she didn't have her Christmas fabrics out yet. I'm even thinking I'm going to go with the 9. No, I don't know. No, maybe just the 4, I think. Do I like that 4? There's little houses there, which is going to be too much. Oh, gosh. Maybe it's not too much. Because it's right here, they could be hanging out over here somewhere, couldn't they? All right. Let's do that, and then whether we use it or not, I don't really know. All right, I'm going to cut. Am I going to cut down the middle? I'm going to have to cut down the middle because, oh gosh, sorry. I have no idea what I'm talking about. That's how they cut it. So I'm going to cut it down the middle of this one. I'm going to use the scissors all the way because I don't know how it will tear along that print. You know, some things are not printed straight. And that's a nice poinsettia. Bit of distraction. Okay, all right, well, I think you know where I'm going. I might go and get it all pinned down. I can come back and show you. Today is a day of playing because, as I said, we had some busy Christmas days and New Year days, and that's going to go under there. With friends and family, and there we go. I don't mind that there. I'll have a think about it. You know, it might be too much with that there, and there's going to be houses coming down here somewhere. It might be too much. Just looking at that there. Sometimes I have to put things down and have a look, walk away and come back. All right, I'm going to go and get all of this pinned down, and when I've done that, I will come back and show you where I'm at, because then the next bit will be just the cancer quilting for it to hold it down. My intention is to do the cancer quilting before I do the applique, because I don't think, I think that will be harder to do because it's needle turn applique, it'll sit on the top. Cool, all right, I'll be back in a second. Okay, this is the last little bit of this video. Oh, what I wanted to say, apologise for, is the amount of times that I start to say something and I get distracted. Shouldn't talk and try and do some design work at the same time because it doesn't always work. Yes, we had a lovely Christmas time. That certainly was filled with family and friends. Lots of cooking, lots of sitting, chatting, not any videoing. So I'm very sorry. I hope you've hung in there with me. and will continue to follow me. Every day I see my subscribers rising, and I just get so excited when that happens. And so it's lovely to have you along. And yeah, please feel free to subscribe if you'd like to, but no pressure. Cool. All right. So I might have taken everything off and start all over again. It just when I struggle and it's not working, it's just what I have to do. I have to go, all right, let's start all over again. A couple of things, and I'll come back to these in a minute. Yes, I didn't. That straight edge wasn't sitting well, and I really can't change it. So I thought I'll start cutting out some of these little baubles that I have, and thinking that I'm not sure where they'll end up going, but they'll just relieve that pressure. I also decided to get rid of that extra little bit of red square that was sticking out there. I've taken the biggest star up to the top and the little ones are coming down. This was the piece where I was humming and hawing over these little squares and trying to work out what I wanted to do. Oh, I've also got a little star that I cut out that I thought this sort of raggy edge here doesn't feel finished. So even though it goes over Santa's face a little bit, I think a star up there will work. And on this side, because I've started to create these borders going around these blocks, I just needed to bring in a bit more colour here. Tucked it under the teddy. It might just not be quite that wide. Trying to find a place for another one of my 12 Days of Christmas without it being too close to this one or in line with the ones above it. And yeah, so there's a few of those design things that are now starting to play out. And so this was a couple more of those little squares. I quite liked this print, even though it's the only piece I've got of it. It fits colour-wise, and I didn't want stars and spangles on it. And then the middle then will just be that. And there'll be a piece going over here, and the next square, which will be block 6, will come in under here. And I'll probably start planning that out before I start doing the houses. So for the next 2 months we'll have a bit of an overlap. Yeah, cool. All right, well, I think this is starting to work well. Just in case you haven't caught up with some of my other videos, I've just used this iron-on, it's just like Vilene, but a very fine one, as you can see, sticky backed, on top of these baubles. And so that then I just cut out the ones that I want, and that will help to stop it hopefully from fraying. Good. All right, well, I hope you liked that extra bit of view that I was able to give you. I'll give you a little tilt so you can see how that's going there. I think, on the whole, this is going to be cohesive. Here's a little tilt over this way so that you can, then it will come in down here. Cool. All right. I'll try not to do it too fast. I'm happy with the background. I didn't want lots of little bits because, as I said, the houses have got to go on there yet, and they didn't need to be competing with too much pattern. I haven't started to stitch it down because really now, when I've got it to this point, I do need to walk away, have a think about it, decide whether or not that's how it's really going to fit. It feels a little dark, this bit, when I see it through the camera. So I'm going to go and take a photo of it and see whether or not it's going to work. It might be better swapping it to a side and having a paler one in the middle. Will I do that while I'm talking to you? All right. It's just, I left this bit dangling because I didn't know how much of it I wanted to use. And it might be better on the side and go down into, that's the thing that I always struggle with when the lines go across. I know I'm probably being overly cautious, but you know, maybe it's too dark. Maybe I have to think about that. Have I got another lighter piece? I've got that bit there again. Thought I was done. And look, and this is what's going to happen for a little bit. I'm gonna wait to take a photo because for the thumbprint, because it may not actually think that might work. I think that's going to work better. I really do. And leave this dark one for the bottom where, you know, I need a bit of weight at the bottom of it. I actually think that's going to be it. All right. I think now you've seen it. This is where I'm headed. Cool. All right. I hope this finds you really well, and I'll catch you again very soon. Bye for now.